Ever wanted to have millions of social media followers without having to work for them? That's the service New York firm Devumi offered to celebrities like that chef, Paul Hollywood, before allegations emerged that the company had been stealing real people's identities. More than 200,000 high-profile figures are reported to have purchased fake followers from the company. Why has got to be the question. Social media psychologist Arthur Cassidy joining us now from Belfast for more on this. Hi to you. Thanks for joining us. Why do people buy social media followers?
Well, the truth of the matter is, based on research, Kay, is that it's highly deceptive to mislead one's fan base. And we find this is much more common feature of Z-listers rather than A-listers. But the problem with A-listers is that they're motivated to do this simply because of the high level of competition between A-listers. And so it is a very high form of deception. And also it is what we call brand trust deception and brand trust erosion.
OK, so there's so many questions as a result of that, aren't there? Not least, why is it so important to have... Surely quality is better than quantity, for example.
Yes, quite right it is, especially in terms of online integrity. When we look at and examine the lifestyles and personalities and motivations of A-listers, indeed of A-list and also Z-list celebrities, what we're looking for is truth and integrity in the promotion and the production and consumption of their brand. And so it's important for this interaction between the A-listers and their celebrity fan base to be open and honest and truthful about having genuine followers. But the problem is that people who actually become psychologically bonded to these celebrities, they switch their fan base from one to the other. We have ones who will follow a particular pop star, then will attach to another brand who's a celebrity chef, then will attach to another sports star. So we begin to have what's called a transfer phenomenon. And this means that we transfer our particular motives for wanting to get engaged to those that we can trust. The problem here, Kay, is that these sort of A-listers are those who really are beginning to cause major issues for their fan base, simply because when they decide that they're not being trusted because of their buying in so many bots, this does quite a huge amount of damage to the identity of young people, indeed older people, who are genuine followers of these celebrities.
Sure. Yeah, so, I mean, somebody like Paul Hollywood, what does that say about his narcissism when he's buying tens of thousands of followers on Twitter? So it makes him look as though he's more popular than he is.
Well, in fact, I've never met Paul Hollywood, but let me tell you that he's not alone. There are many like Paul Hollywood who do, in fact, have what we call healthy narcissism. We measure this on a scale from 0 to 10K, and those roughly between 5 and 7 are what we call the healthy narcissists. These are people who are your celebrity cooks and chefs, etc. And these are people who feel good about themselves, are self-confident, they have achieved as a celebrity, as an A-lister, and they're not really into social comparison. But once they begin to feel threatened by other up-and-coming younger A-listers, then they will begin to be motivated to buy in more followers to increase their ego identity. And therefore, they switch to the extreme side of what we call bad narcissism.
Goodness, so you can be a good narcissist and a bad narcissist. Is that what you're saying, Arthur?
Absolutely, yes. There is this incredible misunderstanding that we think narcissism is all bad. Well, in fact, we know from psychological research that, in fact, it's not all bad. There is healthy narcissism. It's very important. Many celebrities that I have contacts with and work with do, in fact, they do, in fact, work very hard to produce this form of healthy narcissism as performing artists, whether they be cooks, whether they be soloists, whatever, sports stars. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is good for one's psychological health. But whenever one begins to feel under threat, when their ego and identity as an A-lister is under threat, what in fact they do is they begin then to compete very radically with each other. Okay. And by doing so, then they're motivated. This is driven, by the way, by 2 or 3 sets of personality traits, which causes them really then to buy in these bots and therefore mislead and deceive their fan base. OK.
Arthur, fascinating stuff. Good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. So no ifs, no bots. What do you think about people actually spending money in order to buy tens of thousands of followers on Twitter? Let us know your thoughts. We have our tweet of the day in this great big wall, if you're a narcissist, around about 6 this evening. If it's a tweet that catches our eye, we will share it with our viewers right around the world. Buying followers. What do you think? See you in just a second here on Sky.